Welcome to Healthy Vibrations, a platform which brings together trailblazers, changemakers here to effectuate our youth. Thank you for tuning in, and you'll be very happy to that we have Vera Thomas with us today, who is a 22 times best-selling author. She's an international speaker, a trainer, and a coach. Her career spans 40 long years working with youth and adults in schools, companies, organizations, and churches. And she's available to speak, train, coach, and transform. You want to stay tuned for this podcast. We've got an amazing, incredible amount of knowledge coming our way today. Her books are called, she has 3 books written, which I would like to point out. So if any of you want to check that out, we will have the details in the caption later. So her first book is Parenting with Uncommon Courage. Her second book is No Problem Parents. And her third book is Raising Children is Not Easy, but it's worth it. With that, let's welcome Vera Thomas. Vera, we are very, very happy to have you here.
Well, I am very honored and excited to be here.
Thank you, Vera. So you are, as you know, our audience is primarily youth and parents. So you're a perfect speaker for our podcast. And you mentioned that your topic was bullying and impact, bullying and its impact. My first question is, why do you do what you do? Why so much passion? And what got you into this field?
Okay. I grew up with no confidence, no self-esteem. I was bullied and ridiculed and made fun of, told things like, you're stupid, you're dumb, you're fat, you're ugly, you're nothing, you'll never be anything. And I was told those things by adults as well as peers. And so not having any confidence or any self-esteem, I would cry and ask God, what is my purpose? Why was I born? Because I just felt like what people were saying, worthless, stupid, all the things that they said. And I read a book that changed my life. It was called The Magic of Believing. And it talked about acting the way that you want to be and how I could change how I was based on one of the things that Eleanor Roosevelt said, which is no one can make you feel inferior without your permission. Once I once I understood that, then I also understood it didn't matter what other people said. It didn't matter what other people thought. It didn't matter how other people saw me. What mattered was how I saw myself and what I said to myself. And I would fall asleep at night saying, I'm confident, I'm confident, I'm confident, I'm confident. I wanted to taste it, see it, feel it, because I didn't have it. So why do I do what I do? One, I do not want any child to ever feel like I felt hearing those things. In my work with kids, one of the things that was so heart wrenching for me, I was doing a workshop in a school, and it was a 3-pronged workshop where I worked with the children first. Then I had a program for the dads and their kids, and then a program with moms and their kids. When the mothers came to the school to work with these children, one of the students did not have a mother figure in his life. And as we are talking, under his breath, he said, I cannot stand and look at myself in the mirror. I said, what did you say? He said louder, I cannot stand to look at myself in the mirror. That did something to me. It I was like, oh my, and the mothers rallied around him and showed him so much love. But what was even more impacting was how his fellow classmates rallied around him and showed him so much love and told him how special he was and how they really cared for him and loved him. I'm telling you, that was a tear jerker day.
Yeah, sure.
And so I don't, again, and his mother was missing. His father had been incarcerated, and his older brother was taking care of him. And so I'm sure this little boy heard the same kinds of things that I heard as a child, and therefore could not look himself in the mirror because he saw what other people were saying about him. This is so important. You know, bullying is such an issue. So many kids, when you consider the second cause of death for 10-year-olds to 34-year-olds is suicide, oftentimes it's because of how they are treated. And so I have a passion for what I do because, again, I want kids to understand their greatness, their value, their worth. I want parents to recognize that there may be some unresolved issues and baggage that they're coming into parenting with, and they're transferring that stuff onto their children. So I want them to understand their greatness, their power, their their essence that creates the kind of children that have confidence and self-esteem. And I am convinced that if we teach kids at an early age to gain that confidence, to have that self-esteem, and to have that sense of assertiveness, then they will not become victims of bullies because they'll know who they are. They'll know their worth. They'll know their value. And they'll recognize that whatever a bully says to them or does to them, that's not their problem. It's the bully's problem. And, you know, I have grandchildren, and two of them are anti-bully advocates. I mean, they just, oh my goodness. And they don't live with me. They live in another state. But this one day I was visiting, and my one granddaughter, she was 9 at the time. And she was like, "Yeah, Grandma, I had to tell a bully to leave a girl alone." I was like, "What?" Tell me
You do
about
know
it.
where they're learning that from, right? They're learning it from you because they're watching you.
You know, and so I said, "Tell me about what happened." And she said, "Well, there was a friend of mine that this bully kept messing with." And so I went up to the bully and I said to him, "Why are you messing with her? She's not bothering you. You need to leave her alone. You should be ashamed of yourself." And and the bully left her
Oh.
alone. I was
We need
like,
more change makers like that, right?
yes, yes, yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
Your passion is speaking through your words, through your eyes. I am so glad I got you on the podcast, Vera.
Thank
Now,
you.
you did mention that when you slept at night, you continuously said, I am confident, I'm confident. So affirmations work. It's
Yes, they
what
do.
you tell yourself.
Yes,
The
absolutely.
self-talk,
Yes,
the self-talk that you have can completely change your self-limiting beliefs, can completely change your perspective. So thank you for bringing that up. Now, I know your personal journey has driven you to do what you do today. Now, how did you overcome the challenges that you experienced as a child, whether that was one was affirmations? What else did you do to raise your self-esteem?
writing has been a source of strength, insight, encouragement for me. I was rather shy because of all the things that were said to me and how I was treated. I became very introverted. And even though naturally I'm not, I didn't know that. Um, but
You're not. We know that.
but growing up, I was. And so writing was my way of expressing, but it was also my way of encouraging myself. And so that was one of the things. And I remember writing this one poem that started, and this was after some stuff had happened, and I was feeling really down on myself. And I wrote this poem. It was like, I have a strong determination to reach my destination. I have a mind that is determined to reach its goals. Though there are pitfalls and stumbling blocks along the way, I am determined to walk the straight and narrow road. The going gets tough, the road gets rough, but I have a strong determination to reach my destination. And it's interesting, and it goes on and on and on. But it's interesting because, and I'm getting emotional about this, because at the end of that poem, wrote, this is how the poem ended. And I was about 12 or 13 when I wrote this. At the end of my journey, I will be able to see others who chose to follow me. And being, I'll be 70 in November. And so that particular verse just really resonates with me round about now. I didn't know that saying that would make me emotional.
It is such an achievement. It's such an achievement. You're going to be 70 next month, and look what you've done in your life and how much change you've created. More power to you.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much. Okay, I'm losing my eyelash.
All right, so writing therapy, people, really works. If you write down your emotions, that's one way of letting go of them, to articulate them, to move on to the next step as you acknowledge your emotions, if you're not able to speak about it. So we have affirmations and we have writing. Any other suggestions for our youth out there to manage their emotions and to move from a state of a stagnant state to creating change?
I want you to discover your passion and your purpose.
How do you do that? How would you tell our youth to discover their passion and purpose?
What is it that you gravitate towards? What is it that you love to do? What is it that you could sit and do all day long and nobody bothers you? What is it that brings you joy? What is it that just no matter what's going on, you know that you can refer to this thing and everything's going to be all right? For example, and parents can recognize the gifts that their children have at a very early age, because we are born with purpose. We are designed for purpose. And so a lot of times that purpose comes out at an early age. And so being able to recognize that, and parents being able to nurture that and understand that. My son, he's 40 now. And let me ask you this. Are we on video? We are. Okay, because I want to take this lash off.
Take it off. Take it off. Take it off. Don't worry about it. You look beautiful just the way you are.
Oh, well, thank you. But anyway, my son, when he was 4 years old, he wanted drums. And well, before that, when I was pregnant with him, I would play classical and Baroque music on my stomach. And I'm telling you, he developed rather quickly. Was walking by the time he was 7 months. Was talking, well before he was 2, and in sentences. But anyway, he wanted drums when he was 4, and I got him drums, even though drums in the house. But that's what he wanted.
Drive you crazy, but they wanted it.
But he wanted it, and then he wanted a piano, and so I got him a keyboard, and so he kind of dropped the drums. In fact, we gave the drums to the church. And so he started working with, and even as today, he produces music for other people. He's in sales, and that's his side gig that he does. But music has been innately a part of him since he was, well, I'll say before he was even born. And when he was old enough to even turn the station on the radio, he would immediately turn to a classical station, immediately. And so
beautiful.
Being able to recognize
that is beautiful. So we have writing therapy, we have affirmations, we have maybe join an activity, to identify what's your strength, so because that will give you confidence. So these are some of the ways that youth can develop confidence, and of course identify your passion. What is it that you like to do, you could do all day without getting tired, without getting exhausted, when a day doesn't feel like it's work. So yes. Now, what we often hear parents tell their children things like, you're fat, you're not going out and interacting with people a lot, you don't have confidence, you need to work on your confidence. Now, no parent wants bad for their children. No. So they do this with the intention of motivating their child. What impact do you think it actually has on the child?
Dramatic, devastating. When you tell, and a good example, my grandson, when he was 17, he came and stayed with me. And one of the things he said to me was, well, Grandma, I'm lazy. So that's what he's been told from the time he was a little boy. And it's almost like a self-fulfilling prophecy. And we act like telling kids these negative things is going to make them stronger and make them better. No.
What does it do to them?
It destroys them. It destroys their confidence. I'm telling you, I was told you're nothing. You'll never be anything.
And here's what I told a parent the other day. You are the foundation for your child.
Absolutely.
They believe and trust in you blindly. That if you're saying something to them, it must be true. So if you're telling them you're fat, you are not intelligent, you're lazy, you're not confident, the child believes that and forms that as their personality. And refuses to work on them. And this famous thing which I hear is, it's in my genes. Laziness is in my genes. No, laziness is not in your genes. It's a cop-out for you. It's something that you've told yourself that I don't want to work. I am going to tell myself I'm lazy because that works for me.
And that's because they haven't discovered that passion as well. And, parents, like you said, parents are a child's first teacher. And so they're going to pick up on how you treat them, how you relate and react and respond to them. And we look at the various parenting styles and the belittling, the criticizing, the name calling. That doesn't lift or elevate. It destroys.
So how do you think a parent can uplift a child?
Well, first of all, and because of me growing up hearing those negative things, I promised myself that I would never, ever say those things to my son. I promised myself I would never call him stupid. I would never call him out of his name. And he'll tell you I never did, because I know the impact that it can have. One of the things that I did, I used to have an affirmation on my bathroom mirror that said, I am talented, intelligent, and creative. I had him say that every single day from the time he was able to talk. When he was in middle school, he performed at an all-school assembly, and he sang, I Believe I Could Fly. Teachers and parents were crying, and they all came up to me, and my son was standing beside me, and they all came up to me, and almost every last one of them, you know what they said? Miss Thomas, your son, he's so talented, he's so intelligent, he's so creative. And my son and I just looked at each other like, wow. People will see whatever you're manifesting. People will see whatever you're saying. And if you're affirming to your children how wonderful they are, and when you're praising them for things that they've done well, and you're asking them questions for things that they may not have done well, instead of beating them up, ask them, what made you do this? What process were you going through as you went through this? Help me understand. why you
And I
didn't.
think this is also, Vera, directly linked to the fact that we sometimes don't want our children to speak up in front of parents because we think it's disrespect.
Well, you
So
know,
children don't learn to talk about themselves, about how good they are, or what positive things they have about themselves, because they're so scared to speak up from themselves. At least from the culture that I'm coming from, we are not taught to self-advocate. Because in our country, it's considered disrespect to speak in front of parents. So we don't have conversations that are, healthy conversations. We can't answer back. We can't have an opinion. So I think that is directly linked to, what do you think?
well, and it is a cultural thing. We growing up hearing children are to be seen, not heard. Stay out of grown folks' conversations.
Yes.
And
Oh, yes, that's a big one.
now, what I want to say is, I think it's very important for our children to be able to use their voice and to be able to express. And I remember now, again, when we know better, we do better. And one of the things that I talk about that's really traumatic is yelling. And it's also a form of bullying. But yelling at your children, especially when you're angry, frustrated, annoyed, or bothered, when you're yelling at your children, when you're under that kind of emotion, it is traumatizing. It can cause depression, anxiety. It can cause the child to become introverted, have panic attacks, eating disorders, all kinds of things. So I am, and I said that to, there was a point I was ready to make. Oh my goodness. There's a point I was getting ready to make. You had asked about, what was the question, or the, oh, we're
What do
talking
you
about,
think?
parents talking and kids not being able to express. And I remember, now I was a single mom working full time, and and at some points in times working full time, going to school, trying to take care of my son as a single mom. And I remember this one morning. My son was 4 years old. Okay, I remember this so well. He was 4 or 5, and he was taking his time. First of all, my son was the type of kid that would wake up in the morning singing, right? I'm like, why are you singing? It's like, oh my God, like such a happy child. But this one day, I guess I was feeling rushed and trying to get him to do some things, and I guess I kind of raised my voice, and he looked at me with these great big eyes, and he said, "Why are you so mean to me?" And that I was like, oh my goodness, I didn't mean to do that. And then I had to apologize. And that's the other thing. Parents, you need to feel like you can apologize to your children. You
Absolutely.
know, you need to if you know that you've hurt your child's feelings, or you've said or done something that hurt them in some way, emotionally, physically, emotionally, you need to apologize. We expect our kids to apologize, so why don't we apologize as well? It's very important that we allow our kids to express, and if in a respectful way. But they learn that from you as a parent. Are you teaching your kids to say thank you, you're welcome, please? Are you teaching your kids to say those things? And are you teaching your kids how to speak to you in first person? Mom, I felt when this happened, it made me feel. Allow your children to do that.
So
Spend
they can
time.
so they can value their feelings.
Exactly. And if
So
they go ahead, I'm
mhm,
sorry.
go ahead.
If they are comfortable talking to you and expressing how they feel to you, just imagine how empowered they're going to feel when dealing with bullies, when dealing with people that try to treat them any kind of way. Think
Thank you,
about
Vera.
that.
That takes me into my next question. How, and this is specifically a question for our youth. There is a lot of bullying happening in schools, colleges. We have bullies everywhere. Not only in schools and colleges, we have bullies in adult life, you know. So how does a child or an adult deal with bullying?
First of all, there are a myriad of ways to deal with bullying. It depends on what the situation is. One of the things, if a bully is being a bully verbally, you can let them know that what you're saying to me, I know is not true. So it's not bothering me. So you can get on and leave me alone. If they choose not to leave you alone, then go to an authority, go to a parent, go to a teacher, and let them know what's going on so that they can advocate for you, so that they can support you and encourage you and lift you up.
Now, I hear a lot, Vera, from youth that going to teachers in schools and colleges doesn't help. And I think that's true because teachers have so much to deal with in schools. It's very difficult for them to focus on one child. And because everybody is getting into fights and getting into arguments, it's just very hard for a teacher to take it, seriously, that a child is being bullied. What are some of the alternate measures that they can take?
Oh man, talking to parents, talking to that in every school today, there are security and police officers. Go to them and let them know what's going on. I have a client right now who has a 17-year-old daughter who has been bullied in school for 2 years. Her mother has done all kinds of stuff to try to remedy. Her mother has gone to the school so much that the school is now banning her from coming to the school. But they're willing to meet with her online, and she's asked me to join in on that meeting as a mediator. Her daughter has been verbally, physically, mentally, emotionally abused by other kids. She just recently was physically attacked by a gang of kids. And her mother has pressed charges. One of the things that I encourage when you are being attacked, either verbally, physically, mentally, we have phones, videotape what's going on so that you have proof. Document what's going on so you have proof. And what you're doing is you're looking at facts and evidence. So you need to document what's going on. So if your teacher is not able to take time with you, if the principal is not willing to eradicate the problem, go to the school board and talk to the PTA. Take your power back.
I agree. Take your power back, people. Take your power back. Thank you, Vera. That was very, very helpful. That was a lovely conversation that I had with you. And because we are running out of time now, that was too short and too long, right? We didn't get much time, but yes, we have touched about 30 minutes. I know you wanted to share a poem with our audience.
Yeah.
Please, before we close out. Vera has a very beautiful poem for us, so let's tune in.
Children are a gift from God with a brilliance that may leave us in awe. We are the reflection of their perception without pretense or deception. Based on our own reality, our children grow to be what they see. Let not the negatives from our past be what continues a cycle that does not need to last. To change the trajectory of our children's lives, we may need to change what we feel inside. Our attitudes and behaviors can diminish and be what takes them far. Recognize and change the pain from old scars. Unforgiveness, bitterness, guilt, and shame can become what your children learn to claim. Life and death is in the power of the tongue. What we say to our children can make them weak or make them strong. As a parent, we must understand our children's lives are in God's hands. We must parent according to his plan. Train up a child in the way they should go, teaching what will help them grow, guiding them so they will know confidence, resilience, values, and morals, having faith in a higher power and hope for tomorrow. Parents are a child's first teacher. What we pour into them may be lifelong keepers. Raising children requires patience and time, a commitment, courage, and an authoritative mind.
Thank you. That was so beautiful. Thank you so much, Vera. I hope everybody heard that. If not, please do a replay. Very well written. So thank you, Vera. You have been a breath of fresh air and a wealth of knowledge for our audience. I wish you a happy birthday in advance.
Thank you.
Vera turns 70. More power to you. Continue to create change. And we all love you.
Well, thank you. I love you.
Thank you so much for being with us. It was an honor. It was a pleasure to have you.
Thank you. Can I mention about the bully workshop? Do I have time?
Yes, please. Yes, please.
I have an anti-bully workshop coming up on October 14th and 15th, 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And it's for parents and their children, ages 8 to 13. And we're going to be looking at bullying across the board. Bullying at work, bullying at home, bullying at school, bullying in our society. What can we do?
Oh, that's beautiful. I think this workshop is meant for all audiences. Bullying is such a big topic, and it doesn't only happen in schools and colleges. It happens to adults. It happens to every one of us. So join her workshop. She's an amazing speaker. You can tell she's full of energy, full of knowledge, and full of wisdom. Thank you once again, Vera, and I wish you luck. And again, a happy birthday in advance.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you for being here with us.